Hello, 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 hello. It is Burgess Taylor and it is Coffee Chat Monday. And today we're going to talk about embracing creativity. I've talked about comparing yourself to others. I've talked about procrastination, especially with writing. I've talked about a lot of different things, and what a lot of those things have led to is how to be more creative or how to be creative in general. I was talking to my in-laws last night and they were asking me about my YouTube channel and about Patreon and things like that. And I found it really interesting to talk about it. But embracing creativity. Creativity is within all of us. Creativity is something that comes naturally to us, especially when we're children. When we are children, we embrace our creativity. We color inside and outside of the lines. We don't think about what other people's opinions are. We're just doing. When I watch my grandson, he's asking why constantly. He's trying new things. He's doing things. He doesn't understand limitations. He's not afraid to try. But when we become adults, when we become older, especially once we get into school, at least for me, I was raised in an era where you're supposed to pass those tests and get those grades, and art wasn't really thought of. Any artistic profession, writing, poetry, fiction, nonfiction was okay, but you weren't really going to make it too well. You were going to be starving artists, whether you were a painter or a writer or a musician. So people wanted you to get a real job. So now that I have a creative job, my mindset has had to change. And with that, I've had to face fears about my creativity, fears about my talent, that self-doubt that eats at you. I've had to face a lack of motivation, a lack of inspiration. I've had to find other ways to be creative, to find inspiration and motivation when I feel blocked with my writing or my art or anything else. That perfectionism sits there underneath the surface, and that perfectionism feeds on the self-doubt. And the self-doubt feeds on the perfectionism, and it's a very vicious cycle. But if you want to really be creative, for me, I tap into my 5-year-old. A lot of times, one of the best remedies for me when I'm feeling blocked artistically is to sit down with my grandson, who will be 5 in July, and color with crayons, markers, to paint rocks and make them bugs, to go outside in the yard and stomp on mushrooms, or to pick flowers that I know within an hour or two, the little tiny wildflowers that even if I put them in water, they're going to wilt. But they're beautiful right then and there. And that's what matters. When he hands me one of those flowers, it has made my day. I feel as if I have gotten a dozen roses. Creativity is actually simple. It's enjoying what you do and embracing what you're actually doing, and not worrying about the end result, but enjoying the process of what it is you're doing. If you are coming from a place of pure enjoyment, then you don't have the resistance, you don't have the pressure. And with that resistance and pressure comes that perfectionism and that doubt and that fear and the block. But if you come from creativity, from a place of embracing what you are doing at that moment, mindfulness, it makes it much easier. How do you break the barrier when you are blocked, though? How do you get past that? These are things that I've learned. One is to just practice, to keep at it, to continue even if you don't want to. I have 2 different versions of the same thing over here. One is much better than the other. I haven't let that stop me. You want to break the block by creating, by practicing, by continuing to create. But you need to sometimes, I think, disconnect from certain things that you know are actually blocking your creativity. For me, sometimes it's the television. I need to take a break from the television, from watching things on Netflix and Hulu and regular television. Sometimes I need to disconnect from these 4 walls and everything that I'm in here doing, and walk outside and get some fresh air and be in nature and look at the colors and the composition and everything that is in nature. I have tried to implement walking every day into my regime for health reasons, but I've also implemented going outside at least 2 or 3 times a day for 5 or 10 minutes just to enjoy the fresh air and the sunshine and what the world has to offer me visually, without wanting to do anything about it, just to be in the moment, just to enjoy. And then sometimes I am inspired and I will go inside and I will get my notebook and my pen and I will go outside and I will sketch. That's okay, I can do that. But when you're consuming constantly, we are watching YouTube videos, we are taking classes, we are reading books, we are watching television, and that consumption, constant, we're taking it all in, taking it all in, taking it all in, and some of that sometimes can lead to comparing yourself to others. Two, it can sometimes lead to, oh, well, I'm never going to be that talented. Oh, I might as well just give up now. It can lead to competition, and it can lead to, like I said, that place that really is the root of all evil as far as I'm concerned, and that's fear, which causes self-doubt and all of that. You get stuck in a rut, I think, when you overconsume. When it gets to a point where you are definitely comparing yourself to others, and instead of enjoying what you're watching or enjoying the process and learning from it, you are instead constantly berating yourself because you're not that talented. So I try to, for every one or two how-to videos I watch, or for every one or two videos I watch just for pure enjoyment, because I enjoy watching other people's videos, I enjoy watching flip-throughs and process videos, I enjoy watching vlogs. I try to look at it from a different perspective. I try to, one, just enjoy. I try to, two, think, okay, well, how did they create that? What inspired them? That leads you to what really inspires you. What really does inspire you? I can tell you what inspires me, and it could be something as simple as a meme on Facebook. I have a journal page where I drew a meme. There were these three ladies in a convertible with the red hair flying behind, and I thought that was like just awesome, and I drew it. I changed it up a bit, but drew it. Sometimes something I see on the television will inspire me. Sometimes something I see in nature, or when I'm out, when I go on a coffee date, or when I just walk outside my front door and I see flowers. This morning something inspired me, and I'm going to take a picture of it, and that will probably be what's on my journal page, one of my journal pages too. My flowers are blooming, and the little yellow rain boots that I got for Mother's Day, the flowers bloomed almost overnight. We had some rain, and they had little buds, but now they've bloomed, and I'm like, oh, they're gorgeous, and that inspired me, and I think I'm going to take a picture, put the picture in, and draw it. So different things inspire me. I have watched videos from Romany's Realm, from Miss Spooky Bee, from Little Raven Inc., from Allie Brown, from various other people. My documented journey. I am a new subscriber to her. It's been about a month since I subscribed to her, and she has some really great stuff. Palest Blue, My Life Myths. I am still inspired by people who journal their own way. Marianne Kensington, Apocryphal Vidoes, said that many years ago. That resonated with me, and I have stuck with that. It's your journal, journal your way, you know. And I think what comes of that is doing things on your own, being alone in the moment, being alone in your creativity helps as well. Sometimes I just need a minute. Sometimes I have to step away from what I'm doing and just get some different perspective, so that when I come back to it, I can look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. That happens with writing all the time. When I'm in the middle of trying to think of it, and I'm right there in it, and I'm in it, and I'm in it, and I'm reading it, I'm not seeing the forest for the trees. I have to take a step back from it. And then when I come back to it, I can actually read and get the content that's in it. I can catch holes in my plot. I can catch grammar errors. I can catch all kinds of things that I could not catch when I was in the middle of it because I couldn't see the forest for the trees. And I think when you're creative, sometimes that's our biggest handicap, is that we can't always see the forest for the trees. I find, for myself at least, that if you get to that point where you know in your head that it's not right, it's not right, it's not right, it's not right, it's not perfect, it's horrible, I just need to tear it out, I need to cover it with gesso or whatever, or with your writing, it's not right, I'll just delete all of it. When you get to that point in whatever, or with your music, my husband does this with his music all the time, that sucked, and he won't do it anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It didn't suck. But what he hears and what I hear are two different things. So I think when you get to that point where you feel like what you're working on is just a mess, or it's not working, or take a step back from it. Take a step away from it. Remember that 5-year-old. Because I'm going to tell you, when my grandson paints his rocks or he paints a picture, he's not looking at any of that. He thinks he's created the best picture in the whole wide world. And if I have that confidence that he has, whether or not my picture is the best picture in the whole wide world or not, it doesn't matter. It's my best picture at that moment. He writes his name, or he writes a sentence, or he tells me a story. It's the best one ever. Right then and there. It's the best ever. Right then and there. And who am I to tell him it's not? Because for him it is. Who am I to tell myself that that's not a good creation? One of the things I found with watercolor is that you can be in the middle of it and it can be looking horrible. But when you're done with it, if you take a step back from it, you can see that it's not actually horrible. It can be fixed. Or you just needed to take a step back instead of looking straight over it. I don't know. That's my take on being creative, is that ditch the perfectionism. Embrace your 5-year-old. And if embracing your 5-year-old means you need to take a coloring book and some crayons and color inside, outside the lines for a little bit while you watch some TV, and get your mind out of that space of perfectionism and comparing yourself to others and the block, then by all means do it. I know I have, and a lot of times it works, with or without Victor. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye.